How's it going, people? Just working on straightening out this wire real quick before I get started on turning it into a spring, essentially. And then we're probably going to make 4 or 5 springs total, and before we chop them up and turn them into links for the chainmail. Just because now that I'm doing rows of 35 for the mail, it takes a lot longer than when I was doing rows of 9 to complete a row, and it also takes a lot more wire to complete each row. On the last stream I ran out of wire, but fear not, as I went to Home Depot today and I got 1,600 feet of wire. So that should be plenty of wire to finish our chainmail. If you haven't seen so far, this is where I'm at on the vest. I've got the front started and we're about halfway done with the front. Just got to get it down to the waist. Then I can do the same thing by creating a back for this, which will be the same size piece as this, all the way down to here. Then we can do our shoulders and our sides. I've got Futurama in the background, just because I don't want to bore myself or you guys too much. So, yeah, we're working on the chainmail once again. If you guys have any questions or you just want to chit chat, feel free to type something down in the chat there, and I will BS with you as we talk, as things go. If you guys aren't subscribers to the channel or you haven't seen the stuff I do, I typically bladesmith and blacksmith on this channel. I do have some martial arts videos and some tech and analysis videos as well. And yeah, without further ado, let's spin up another spring and get rolling. It's great to have y'all in here. If you would be so kind as to hit that like button and to share this out if you know people that would like to see this, that would be greatly appreciated as well. It will help this stream reach more people, as we are just getting started today. I discovered today, by trying to stream horizontally, it doesn't seem like YouTube recommends horizontal streams at all. So you have to stream vertically, so it pops up on people's short feed and bugs them. And then there's about a 1 in 10 chance that those people will actually like what you're doing and stick around for more than 30 seconds. The visual entertainment market, as it were, nowadays, is definitely a competitive space. And I'm competing with thirst traps and all kinds of other crap for people's attention while I spin a piece of wire around a brass rod, chop it up into links and flatten them, and then slowly but surely assemble a chainmail vest. So I'm definitely at a disadvantage. I mean, I could take off the shirt and show off the old 6-pack and pecs, but I'm married and I actually have, you know, morals and values. So I'm not about to show off my body for money or for views. There's one more spring made. Like I said, I'm going to be doing about 5 of these. I've got 2 so far, including this one. And then we can chop them up and flatten them all out, because I found that it's a lot faster to do it in batches than it is to just do it one at a time. So there's our first 2 springs, and each one of these loops in these springs will eventually become part of the chainmail. Let's get another spring going. Where is the end on this? It's always the trickiest part, is finding the end and unraveling it. There we go. Going to be making some real progress today, hopefully, since now we figured out a little bit of a faster way to get this done. And if you guys weren't here when the stream started, I just bought 1,600 feet of steel wire, high carbon steel wire, which is going to become part of the chainmail. We just have to make the springs, then we can chop the springs up and make them into rivets. Well, not rivets, but rings, I should say. And then we can assemble it all once we've chopped up a good amount of them. This is a long process, so I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And I can tell you as a fact, my forearms are going to be very tired by the end of this. If you've ever twisted baling wire by hand all day, then flattened it after cutting it all into little tiny rings, then assembled it all into a vest, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you will have no idea. I can actually pull you guys a little closer here so you can get a little better look at how this is wrapped. You want to kind of keep it somewhat tight the entire time and try to avoid overlaps, so that way you get some consistent loops, because each full loop around the bar will eventually become a ring, and we want the rings to be at least somewhat consistent in size. Otherwise, you just end up with really ugly, mangled stuff. This is my first time ever doing chainmail. I was kind of inspired by a couple of other channels like Todd Cutler and some of the other arms and armor makers out there that make this kind of stuff on a regular basis, but they have a lot more tooling and a lot more practice at this. I'm just a humble bladesmith slash blacksmith, and I wanted the experience of making a chainmail vest for Renaissance fairs and the like, so that way when I'm selling I can have a set of armor to kind of draw people's attention and bring them over to my booth so they can take a look at my wares, like my swords, my knives, my polearms, all those kind of things. On my channel, I did just have some videos go up of finishing a needle style small sword. next Friday will be the testing video going up on that. You know, where I'm cutting and stabbing and slashing stuff with that sword. But if you guys want to see the process of how a sword is hand forged, especially a needle small sword, you can check those videos out on the channel. We carry a harpoon, but there ain't no whale, so we tell tall tales and sing our whaling tune. Sorry guys, this piece of wire is kind of getting wrapped up around some stuff here in the shop. One problem with having a small blacksmith shop is projects like this that require hundreds of feet of wire kind of get a little bit tricky sometimes. There we go. That'll be much better. Let's see, if you get a little kink in it, most of the time you can get the tension back on it, back it off a little bit, retense it, and then it'll twist nice and tight again. You can also kind of compress it as you go. Take some tension off, compress the whole thing, twist the tension back on, and that'll help to sink it down to size across the whole coil. If you ever wonder why blacksmiths are called blacksmiths, that's why. Forge scale, grinder dust, all that stuff. Turns your hands, your face, all that stuff black over the course of the day. This one's going to be a little longer than the previous two, but that's fine. I'm kind of trying to find out how long of a piece of wire I need to cover the entire pipe per go. Because the more links I can make at a time, the faster I can get this chainmail pumped out. There's another spring. That'll be probably another close to 300, 400 links, somewhere in there. So let's just get this one off the pipe. Clip off the ends and put it in the pile with the other ones. Then we just have 2 more to make before we can start actually assembling the chainmail. Well, before we can cut them up and then make them into links, then assemble the chainmail. Step by step, we'll get there. So yeah, that one's a good bit longer than the other 2 we've made. But yeah, if you've ever wondered how to make a spring, this is how you make a spring. Take a coil or a bar, wrap the steel wire around it so it can create these concentric loops. Then you're going to want to harden and temper the metal so that way it holds its shape and the spring is more springy and has a higher tension. Because as these are right now, being unhardened and untempered, these won't exactly work as springs for long. They'll wear themselves out over the course of use. But these aren't going to stay springs forever. These are going to be chainmail links. So we don't need to worry about hardening and tempering them just yet. They're the floppy, like tentacles or tendrils. Now we can unwrap another piece and make another coil. And loafers. Wire cutters and clip that end off. I'm not sure what that translates to, but hello? I'd assume that's hi. Hi. I speak English and a little bit of Spanish, but I don't speak, I believe that is Russian. Good day when there's a live. Hey, how you doing, Chris? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. We are working on the chainmail yet again. Ran out of wire last time at the end of the last stream, so I went and I bought. I have another coil sitting over there, but 1,600 feet. Went and got 1,600 feet of wire. That's 1,600 feet of wire. That should be more than sufficient to finish this build, hopefully. Because I was just using up the rest of the baling wire that I already had before I went and got more, because I didn't see any sense of buying more until I, ran myself out of what I already had. And whatever I have left over from this build, I can use for other stuff. It's good to see you back, man. It's good to see you back. How'd you like that needle sword? Looks like plenty for the project. Yeah, it should be. That's the goal. I mean, it's close to 30 pounds, and most chainmail vests were like 25-ish pounds, somewhere in there, depending on how big the guy was wearing it. And I'm guessing for somebody my size, it's going to be around the 25-pound mark, because I'm a lighter guy. I'm not very broad. But today, we're going to do it a little differently than we have been. We're making all of these springs first. So I'm making 5 springs worth of coil today. Then I'm going to chop it all up and pound out all the links. So we're kind of starting to do a manufacturing style process on this in hopes of speeding up how it goes. Thank you. I appreciate that, yeah. That sword's actually a very fun little one because it's so light. It's one of those really nimble, don't really feel it moving in the hand too much when you're using it. Kind of just flows. But it's nice to have you back, man. Good to see you again. Well, see your comments, I should say, because I don't physically see you. But you see me, or at least you see my hands. Getting kind of dirty. Proving the name blacksmith correct. Definitely glad to be watching. Always glad to be watching your handwork. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Maybe I should be a hand model for male products. Just be like, selling wrenches and hammers and stuff for the day job. Be like, I got those working man's hands with the thick knuckles and the heavy veins. make some money doing that. But yeah, we're going to make 5 coils, then we're going to chop them all up, then we're going to flatten all the links out. So we're going to do it in stages as opposed to doing it one coil at a time like we were doing before, because I just feel like that's going to be so much faster for the overall build. Alright, and there's another one. Got Futurama in the background today. Hopefully a couple of the other guys that are usually here pop in too, but it's a Sunday, so they may be doing stuff with family or who knows what. Because it'd be cool to get everybody back in here and chit-chat with all you guys. I always enjoy it. Do you speak Russian? Because I don't speak Russian, and we had that guy that commented that I kind of look. That symbol, and I'm thinking it means hi in Russian, but I don't know. Thanks. I mean, that's kind of the goal with all of the projects that I do, right? Is I want to constantly be improving my technique, constantly be improving the methods that I use to construct stuff, because it makes it faster, makes it more efficient, and it makes a better product. And I mean, since I'm making this chainmail for me, it's a nice way to experiment in case I decide to ever do this for somebody else. So now we've got, oh crap, 4 coils down, 1 more to go before we start chopping and flattening all the links. Got like tendril things going on here. Good springs though, they're nice and stretchy. Can definitely tell the wire's brand new. So now I'm going to start unraveling more wire. Yay! Gotta repeat the process one more time, and then we can finally start cutting them all up, and I can sit down. Stop bending over for so long, because my back does not like that. I do not, unfortunately, so I wouldn't be able to help with the translation, but I always sing the experience. Yeah, for sure, man. Me too. That's why I do the lives, because I mean, it's a twofold thing. I do the lives because this project is going to take like a month to complete, probably. I'm not for sure because, like I said, I've never done this kind of thing before. But I'd rather just do the live stream so people can watch the lives if they want to see it, rather than do 150 videos and have it scheduled out for a year on my channel because of my upload schedule, and have a year's worth of just making a chainmail shirt. I'm probably, like I said, I'm probably going to do a couple videos of actually, you know, here's where we are here, here's where we are here, here's how we're going to assemble this, just in between stages, just so people that miss the lives or don't want to sit through probably the 200, 300 hours of live that this is going to be by the time this mail vest is done. I'll have basically a more condensed kind of thing going on. But that's going to be after all the sword videos and all the knife videos and all the other forging videos that I've already got scheduled to go up are. So the first one of this is scheduled for like the beginning of July. The first video of the very start of this chainmail. Let's give it another clip. And then start spinning up the last spring for now. I feel like doing 5 of these will give me a pretty good idea of how far I can get off of each section. We're definitely going to be doing a lot more today than we have in the past streams just because of this method. I've already made more coil in this amount of time. In roughly 35 minutes, I've already made more springs and more spring length than I did in any of the previous streams. So that gives me hope, because once I get this last one made and I chop them all up, then I pound them all flat, I should and I'm saying should, be able to accomplish more in this stream than I have in previous streams of this chainmail. So that'll be exciting. And then I can look back on how long it took to accomplish what I accomplished in this stream, compare it to the length of the other streams, and kind of figure out how efficient this method is in comparison to the way I was doing it before. Figure out if this is worth doing this way, or if I should just go back to the old method of doing things. But these coils, each one of these springs is probably close to 30-ish or more, like 30 to 40 feet of wire. That longer one's probably closer to 50 feet of wire that I pulled out to make the coils. It's astounding how long of a piece of wire it takes to make the chainmail. Yeah, that's the thought process I had behind it. I was kind of thinking it over yesterday, looking at the previous streams and going, there's got to be a more efficient way to do this. And at the end of the last stream, before I ran out, I made the coil and then I cut them all up at once. Then I flattened them all once. And it took me like half as long to cut them all up at once and flatten them all at the same time, versus cutting one at a time, then flattening, then cutting one at a time, then flattening. Which I don't know why I ever did it that way to begin with, because that just seems horrendously inefficient now that I'm looking back on it. But, you know, first time making chainmail, so not exactly the most educated in this process, and I don't want to look up how somebody else is doing it that's been doing this longer, because I want to learn for myself. I don't want to copy somebody else's method. They will truly be one of a kind piece that shows up. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting armor set, because I've never made armor before, as I've said before. So being a weapons maker, I think that my methods are going to reflect that of a weapons maker rather than an armorer. So the construction may be a little bit different than the historical methods. The design might be slightly catered to my own taste. But it'll be cool to see, because, you know, it's going to be my own style, it's going to be my own personnel touch, and it'll be made for me. And, I mean, God forbid the zombie apocalypse kicks off, I'll be teeth-proof. I'll be bite-proof. Just go out and scavenge, and if they want to pile on me, then they can pile on as much as they want. They're not going to be able to bite me through it. I mean, it's made for Renaissance fairs, but who knows? Might find a use for it if the zombie virus ever comes to fruition and decides to collapse society, right? Or some other contingency happens and armor becomes the best method. Be heavy as hell, though. That's going to be one thing, is this armor set's probably going to weigh like a total of 50 to 100 pounds with all the armor I'm going to be making. Because there's going to be elements of sheet steel, elements of leather, some brass, if I can incorporate it, just for aesthetic purposes. See, I start going too fast and then I kink it, and then I have to straighten it back out and start rolling again. Definitely getting faster, at least I feel like I'm getting faster at rolling these coils than I was when I started. That's the goal, man. That is the goal for sure. And I mean, then I'll be able to use it for future videos too. I mean, not just Renaissance fairs, but you know, when I'm making videos where I'm talking about specific things, or making skit videos, making fun of Skyrim or Baldur's Gate or whatever, take some of the different pieces and wear different parts and pieces of it for different skits. Because I don't know what it is, but you know, looking the part definitely makes a difference. Like when I make martial arts videos and I'm just wearing a pair of pants and my beanie and a t-shirt, I get all kinds of people saying all kinds of stupid shit. But when I wear my black belt uniform and I have my black belt on, people are a lot more respectful. So it's really asinine to me that how much people judge based off of the clothes you're wearing and how you look versus, you know, the skills you're displaying. It's one thing you'll learn in life is a lot of people judge based off appearances before they ever know anything about somebody. That's kind of how they make their first judgment on everybody. It's sad, but it's the way it goes. Alright, throw these over here for now so they're out of the way. Okay. Clip off the ends.
Stop! Cutting Layla's head off won't solve anything. Oh, I'm gonna chop off my antenna. That sounds good. Can I give you a hand? Fry, don't help him mutilate himself. But it's a useless antenna. It's not like he's a ham radio or something. I'm gonna do it. I'm really gonna do it. Okay, stop me.
So we've got 5 coils, or springs, made up. Now as you can see, we've got kind of increasing lengths here. So let's get these straightened out. We've got 2 that are the same length that are shorter, 2 that are, well, this one's a little longer actually. But we've got a few different lengths of coil here. And we're going to chop all of them up one by one to make rings. So let me grab a container of some kind to stack them all in.
You're my best friend, Fry. Sorry I treated you so badly. Apology accepted. After all. Wait a minute. You did it all backwards. Fry's the one who screwed. What's wrong?
Start clipping it all up.
This place is a great choice. The food is amazing and such generous portions.
If you like the meal, just wait till you try these after dinner mix.
You know, Dad, most guys are put off by my eyes.
one little trick I've learned too for cutting these up is if you kind of bend the spring like that, you can kind of get in there a little bit better for each ring and clip it a little faster.
What was wrong with your knee last night? Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. Possibly as vile as you've done.
Too picky.
Yeah.
If you rule out every guy with a lizard tongue or a low IQ or an explosive violent temper, of course you're gonna be lonely.
There's nothing wrong with having high standards. Now, can we please stop?
Female Leela's problem is purely medicine. Soon she will drop her eggs and they will hatch and all that will be well.
You just have to give guys a chance. Sometimes you meet a guy and think he's a pig, but then later on you realize he actually has a really good body.
Thank you all for the inspiring advice. I'm perfectly happy with my life the way it is.
That sounds like a cry for help.
Let's all take her out tonight. There's lots of great places to meet people.
The Federal Sex Bureau. Saucy puppet show. The rotting carcass of a whale.
I'll pick. Oh, wow. It's totally retro.
Why is everyone wearing those rings?
Duh. Because nobody wears them anymore. Rings are stupid.
I think they look cool.
Shh, don't let anyone hear you say that.
Hi, did I just say rings are cool?
No, you said they're stupid.
Cool.
So what do you think of that guy by the bar?
I don't know. Maybe.
Forget it. He's gay.
What? How can you tell?
I just know these things. I've done what they call PR.
There's no such thing.
No. I got a lockout. Yep, he's gay.
Are you sure?
Definitely. Unless I'm getting interference from a gay weather balloon.
You're from the 20th century? That's incredible. I'm from the 21st century.
No way. We've got so much in common. Sure do. Remember when the cyborgs enslaved humanity? Yeah. What rings a bell?
This is Bolt Rollins. Bolt is a hypersled racer with 10 wins on the pro circuit.
Hello, beautiful. You think she needs 10 wins on me?
I would say from a viewer's perspective, looks like you're definitely working quicker than the first live. It's cool to see how fast you can this build. Yeah, it'll be awesome, man. I still need to flatten all these, for sure. But I feel like, you know, I'll be able to grab a few, flatten a few, throw them back in the box. Grab a few, flatten a few, throw them in the box. Just like I'm chopping through it.
That's not what I'm looking for.
I figured out a few tricks, like bending the coil, like I was showing you. That kind of speeds up how fast I can get my clippers in there, stuff like that.
You're impossible.
Yeah, I got all 5 of these to chop up real quick. And then we'll have a ton of rings, and then we can just start assembling rows of 35, throwing them together, assembling rows of 35, throwing them together. Hopefully this will be enough rings to finish the front and at least get a start on the back side. Because now that I know it's 35 wide that I need, I can make rows of 35 when I start the second part. And literally, instead of doing rings of 9 across, then rows of 35, I can just do rows of 35, and I know it's going to be long enough. And if it's not quite broad enough, when it's done, then I can always make rings of however long it is to broaden it up a little bit for the back before I connect it at the shoulders and at the sides.
Funny little doomed planet inhabited by a number of frisky little doomed animals.
Animals?
That's right. Animals in desperate need of rescue. You see, Virgon 6 was once filled with a super dense substance known as dark matter, each pound of which weighs over 10,000 pounds.
Wait, what about the animals?
Well, dark matter is extremely valuable as starship fuel. And that's why it was all mined out, leaving the planet completely hollow.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Destroy them.
Because once I get it down long enough to get to the waist, then I have to duplicate it all over again.
Nice feel to it.
And the front and the back are going to be the biggest parts of this project. Getting the front of the chest done and the back cover done are going to be the biggest parts of this project for sure. I don't know if I've said it on stream, but once I get this completely made, I'm going to take some of that wire and I'm going to bolster. Hello, Kenzao. How you doing, Kenzao? But yeah, once I get this all, once I get the back done and the front done, I'm gonna take some wire and I'm gonna actually weave it through around the neck, around the edges of the shoulders, around the sides, down the interconnection points, and around the waist. So that way it's bolstered in addition to the chain holding together. That way the wire can take the weight of the chain off of itself, so it's even that much more difficult to take apart, let's say. It'll be stronger. And it'll kind of have, it'll kind of give it more shape around the collar. It'll give it more shape around the arms, more shape around the waist and the sides. So it'll kind of stay to shape instead of just balling up when I take it off. And it'll look more like a chainmail vest. I might not do sleeves for this, just because that's going to be a lot of extra work to make sleeves when I'm already going to be making the pauldrons. I've been thinking about it for a minute, and I think that since I'm going to do the shoulder armor anyway, I might as well just skip over the chain underneath it, because that would be super uncomfortable to have the chainmail sitting over the arms while I have the pauldrons sitting on them, because they'll be kind of pressing down on it, if that makes any sense, which would be horrendously uncomfortable, I would imagine. And if I'm going to be wearing this for 8-hour days at the Renaissance festivals, I'm going to want this to be comfortable, or at least as comfortable as chainmail armor and heavy metal armor can be.
Really thrilled to meet you.
You're an impressive piece of captain. You don't know that, but I do.
But it shouldn't, mess up the design. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking out the design as I make it, because, as I create it, that's going to kind of help me to figure out how to assemble things, figure out how to tie the pieces together, all that kind of stuff. I'm almost done with the first coil, at least chopping it up. Then we can chop up these other 4. And this is definitely going to be more rings than I've had to work with at any point in time previously, so that's good. That way I'm not running out as fast.
Keep going.
Captain Brannigan, we really need to talk to you about our mission.
Whatever it is, I'm willing to put wave after wave of men at your disposal. Right, men?
You suck! We're hoping to save the animals of Virgon 6 from extinction. And if you suggest...
Virgon 6! This light dinner is over.
Wait, what's wrong?
The Democratic Order of Planets prohibits interfering with undeveloped worlds. There's a little rule known as Brannigan's Law.
But people already interfered. That planet was mined completely hollow.
Yes, by a Democratic Order of Planets mining crew.
This doesn't make any sense.
I don't pretend to understand Brannigan's Law. I merely enforce it.
Fine. We'll save the animals without your help.
I'm afraid I can't allow that. Guards!
What just happened?
He's throwing us in prison.
Dang. Can I get this wrapped up? Ow! I might have liked Zap Brannigan if you weren't a pompous dimwit who threw me in prison.
You really are too big.
Gif, follow me up to the observation deck. I've got some music to do.
How you doing today, Chris? How you doing today, Ken?
I'm facing a formidable female adversary.
If you're still there, Ken.
Suggestions?
I fail to see any problem, sir. You already imprisoned her under Directive B10.81.
You mean Brannigan's Law?
Right, that law.
Which one?
Brannigan's law.
Gif, you're my best and most loyal friend, but you've earned my contempt once again. As my protege, you should know that the only way to deal with a female adversary is to seduce her. This time we are sure she's a woman, right?
Yes.
good day. Thanks for asking. How's everything going with you today? It's going good. I don't know if you've ever played the game 7 Days to Die, but I've been playing that with my wife and one of my buddies quite a bit, off and on. And last night was the Horde night. I think it was day 42 Horde, so it was like the 6th or 7th Horde. And my god, there were a lot of zombies, because we're playing on double zombie spawning, half XP, half loot. So we've decided to make it really hard on ourselves. And I'm the one who's in charge of base building and weapons making, as, you know, fits me. I build and manufacture stuff, so I figure I'll do that in the game. And just about at the point in the game where I can start making electrical traps, which is going to help a lot because I've been having to craft like 800 spikes per horde. It's quite a fun game for like a zombie looter shooter survival game. My buddy's in charge of vehicles and like acquisitions, we call it, but he's basically our looter and vehicle manufacturer guy. And my wife is our food and medicine person because she likes to do the cooking and the making the medicines. So we've got it pretty well thought out in terms of who does what, and it's been going pretty smoothly. We almost ran out of ammo on the last horde though. We got pretty close to running out of ammo because there was just so many zombies. Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun. It's a fun game. It's been in development for a long time and it's finally going gold, so it's like been in pre-alpha for almost like 15 years, I think. And me and the wife started playing it all the way back on PlayStation 4, back when it first came out as a, you know, pre-built game, so to speak, or pre-build, I should say, of the game. definitely going to be a lot of links compared to what we've been doing before too, because we're getting a good amount going,
Be okay if there were all those big animals.
which is nice. That's kind of the whole point, is make a bunch of links this time, flatten them all out. And that's going to be kind of the longest part of the process, is going to be making the springs and making the chains and making the links. And then the assembly shouldn't take nearly as long once we have as many links as we're going to have. We're going to have an entire thing full of chain link.
So let's make the most of our time together, shall we? Never mind. Just give me it back.
I found a pair of flamingos.
Good. That's the last species.
Hey, what the?
Where'd they all go? Nibbler.
I can't believe we flew halfway across the galaxy and enjoyed a steam just to get lunch for that stupid animal.
He's pending for offending.
Leave him alone. It's not his fault that he's an unstoppable killing machine. Yes, he'll spill on himself.
Planet's kerploding.
Prepare for liftoff. We're out of fuel. Bender, I told you to fill the tank before we left.
Yeah, I'll do it when we get back.
Man, lucky for us, Zap Brannigan's nearby.
No way. Forget it. I refuse to go crawling back to him.
What? What are you talking about?
Nothing. We just talked.
So what's your problem? It's not like you slept with him. Oh, my God.
Oh, Mila, I thought you had some standards. I mean, jeez, he's a dumb, gross gorilla.
That's enough. Don't you think I feel bad enough already?
No.
All right. All right, I'll call him. I mean, if living is that important.
And that's why you'll never make a captain, kid.
Hello, Zap.
Well.
Zap, we're out of fuel. Durgon 6 is about to implode. We need your help.
So, crawling back to the big seedling of bird on its belly. Delicious.
Birds don't crawl.
They've been known to.
Look, are you gonna rescue us or not?
Can't you ask a little more sexually?
See.
When it's done. That's the thing I'm looking forward the most, is when I'm finally done assembling all the chains. Once the vest is a vest and I can finally put it on and, you know, it's a finished chainmail vest. I'm also looking forward to the heat treatment, just because it'll be really cool to watch this whole thing go, get nice and hot, get turned into some hardened links, so that way it won't ever come apart. Because when the heat treatment's done, I can look at it and say, screw you, you frickin' 2,000 hour goddamn pain in the ass project. I never have to worry about putting any more links in your ass again. And you'll never come apart because you're hardened in place, you sucker.
This guy just unloaded his...
And at that point I can say I've defeated the Wire King. Because right now I'm fighting with the Wire King, and he's kicking my ass. This is a lot of work. Like, I've garnered a whole... Yeah, absolutely. I've garnered a whole new respect for chainmail makers in history, man. They, wow. They knew what they were doing, and they were definitely patient people. This project is definitely trying my patience. There have been points in it where I was like, should I just like scrap the project and tell you guys like, yeah, it was a cool idea, but I don't want to do it anymore, or should I just like take a break or whatever? And then I stopped and I played some games yesterday with my wife and my buddy, and I thought about it for a minute, and I'm like, well, all the best things in life require time. Like with my black belt, I didn't get my black belt overnight. It took me almost 9 years of hard training at that gym to get my black belt. It took me 12 years to get my first, big time fight at the US Open. So I mean, all the best things in life are hard work and a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of training, a lot of grind. So, you know, I said, kind of said to myself, okay, Zach, are you going to be a little bitch? And are you going to give up on the project? Or are you going to be a man and see it through the end? And I decided, well, since I have a pair of testicles, I should probably see it through the end. So here we are. Spinning wire, chopping it into lengths, flattening it out, tapping it together, getting more blisters, getting more frustrated, but getting it done. Because the satisfaction of the project when it's finished will be worth the time and effort that I put into it. Because it'll last, you know, longer than I'm alive. If it's taken care of, my kids could inherit this, and you know, who knows what they would do with it. They'd probably just hang it on the wall and say, hey, great grandpa made that shit by hand. And they'll probably be wondering what the hell I made this project for in 2025. And I will simply answer, if I'm still alive, the COVID zombies. And leave it at that and confuse the hell out of all of them. They said to wear protection, so I made protection. Last I've looked. I hope so too. I think that's going to be another big part of the project for me, is seeing how many people actually, you know, follow along with it and seeing what people think at the end when it's finally done. When this great anticipation we all share has finally come to an end and I can start to work on the rest of the armor. Because the rest of the armor is not going to take as long. At least I don't think it should. Because forging pauldrons and assembling that, I mean, I'm much more intimately acquainted with blacksmithing and forging and hammering and riveting and all that stuff. Whereas this is just, chainmail is just something you can't speed up past a certain point. I mean, I'm trying to speed up the process to the best of my ability, but it's not exactly something that I can just, you know, say, all right, I'm going to swing the hammer for 8 hours and be done like most things I make. I mean, most of the swords I make take, you know, 8 to 16 hours total, which, if you think about it, compared to the chainmail, is not a lot of time. It sounds like a lot of time, but it goes by fast because I love the process of making blades. You know, forming the steel. The only thing I don't like is hand sanding, because it takes forever. But, I mean, I've learned how to make really good springs this way. That's going to be a skill I can carry for the rest of my life, is if I need a spring, I know how to make a spring now. If I need chain link, like this kind, like small chain link for a project, I know how to make it now. So, I mean, I've learned some stuff that's going to come in handy for future things, for sure. I mean, like, if I want to make a chain link D-guard on a sword or something like that, I now know how to do it. And I mean, by the end of this project, I'll be able to say I'm one of the few people that's alive that's made chainmail completely by hand, so that is kind of a brag on my behalf. I'll be able to say that. I mean, it's nerdy as hell. It's a brag that's nerdy as hell, but to the right people, it's a brag, right? halfway done cutting these all up. Then I can flatten them all out. Which will be nice because I actually get to hammer some stuff. Then once they're all flattened out, I can grab the vest and start working on it. Putting all these links together into one big piece. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's a learning thing, and I always like to learn new skills, learn new utilities, let's say. Somewhere in the past little while, I accidentally magnetized these clippers, which really sucks. Probably running it across the magnets on my anvil over and over magnetized it. And that sucks because then I have to flick the rings off as opposed to just being able to shake the pliers and have them go in the bin. Where did that just go? Oh well. Lost one ring, but that's not a big deal. Two more. The two longest ones. I think I'm going to kind of sit back here so I'm not hunched over for as long. Get myself a little more comfortable. Might as well, right? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Definitely, not gonna lie, it definitely doesn't feel like I'm making much progress, but that's because I haven't touched the vest yet. I feel like once I put all these links on the vest, I'm gonna be like, holy crap, that was worth it. And then I'll have to go and make more coils and do it all over again. It's a little warmer today too, so that's nice. It's been pretty damn cold lately here in Utah. It's the bad kind of puppy. I don't know if you can tell, but I've watched Futurama a few times. Any of you guys in the audience like Futurama? I've got it on in the background. And I know YouTube's going to say, oh, you have copyright content found in the stream. But YouTube provides us creators recently with a nice little tool called Song Eraser. And basically what that means is once it starts to publish the video after the stream ends, then it'll tell me the areas that it found that are copyrighted areas, so to speak. And I can go through with that tool, and with a few clicks of a button, I can remove the copyrighted sound while keeping the talking part that I'm doing with you guys. So it allows me to watch my show, chit chat with you guys, work on the mail, and then with a few presses of the button, make it eligible to not be blocked in all countries because of copyright reasons. And it keeps me from getting YouTube strikes. So that's always nice. I'm glad they finally did that for us, because there were so many times that videos would get taken down for copyright reasons for the dumbest stuff. Like, oh, you have a second and a half of this specific sound. We're going to remove your entire hour-long video. Upgrade shows and other things. Yeah, otherwise it would get even more tedious, because it helps pass the time. You know, how it's nice to pass the time talking to you guys, but in between, you know, you guys typing out comments and me clipping, you guys watching me clip and do all that stuff, it can get pretty tedious if I don't have any sound in the background. So kind of give myself some background noise so that way I can kind of just chill, work on the project bit by bit. If I have to guess, this is probably over 1,000 rings in all of these coils that I've just made, which should make a big difference in the amount of chain, because this is a lot of rings. It's easily 5 to 10, maybe 20 times, if I'm being generous to myself, the amount of rings I was able to make at a time before. I can tell you as a fact, my hands and my wrist and my elbow and my shoulder are going to be tired after I finish clipping and pounding all these. But it'll be nice to do the slow, tedious assembly work where I only have to do some light taps afterwards. This hand's kind of starting to cramp a little bit from the over and over. The things we do for our passions, right? Yeah, kind of professional curiosity was another reason, for sure. Why I wanted to start making armor. Just because, as a bladesmith, you know, I study a lot of history and I've looked at a lot of armor in history. And I've always wondered, what it took to make such intricate stuff like that. And I'm learning a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a whole lot of chain link. But I got one more spring to do, and we've got a bunch of links being made here. I mean, this is a lot of links that are going to go together. We have one more spring to deal with, then we can start to flatten them all out. So, getting kind of warm though. I'm going to take off the beanie for now. Take a sip of some coffee. What would you say is your favorite historical item to forge? Pole arms, for sure. Pole arms are most definitely my favorite. Just because they're not as hard as people seem to think. They're actually a little easier than a sword to make. But they are incredible tools to use. Like, in testing, the ones that I've made have been so much fun. Like, especially larger pole arms, like pole axes with spikes, war spears, like the boar spear that I made that's hanging in the shop. All that kind of stuff has been, those are kind of my favorite. I do love swords. I've always had a love of swords, but ever since I started making them, pole axes and pole arms in general have just kind of quickly taken over my interest in blade making. Just because they're such a powerful utility, and I mean, they were so much more commonly used in movies and TV shows would have you believe. They were kind of one of the more common things on the battlefield. Spears were actually one of the main weapons used in warfare for most of history. Just like that video that I made kind of explaining it says. They were a reach multiplier, they were a leverage multiplier, they were a force multiplier in many ways because you could fight in a closed unit tactics with them and keep the enemy at bay a lot more effective than you could with swords.
Prepared for today's final exam.
Excuse me, I missed a few lectures.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. It's a lot of hammering, like it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. I really like the warhammers too. When I get the chance to do sculpture work, like that crow's headed one that I did a while back, that was one of my favorites that I've ever done warhammer wise. I do like the goat headed ones that I do, but that crow beak one was something special, and I'm probably going to be making some like that again for the shop because that one sold pretty quickly. Yard sale season's coming up here soon, and that'll be my opportunity to go out and start collecting a bunch of ball peen hammerheads and things like that to make into pole axes and pole hammers, wrenches to make into one-handed war hammers, all that kind of jazz. Such a long project. We're like halfway done with this long spring because this was the longest spring out of all the springs that I made today. So this one's taking the longest to clip, obviously. Then after that, we have to hammer each and every one of these flat. I could have made it round ring armor, but flat ring armor is actually a little more traditional. Round ring armor is kind of a later Renaissance period thing, and I think that's because they kind of got lazy. I mean, I don't blame them. If it doesn't make it that much more protective, having it flat rather than round, I can see why they wouldn't do it, but I like the aesthetic of the flat ring. So I'm willing to hand hammer each and every one of them. Yeah, I'm sure you saw the goat-headed warhammers, but the ones that are going to come out after this yard sale season will definitely be coming out across the summertime, because you know I already have a bunch of videos scheduled. So I'm really looking forward to when I can really get into some heavy work. And that's why, you know, late winter, early springtime is when I chose to do the chainmail. Because once I get the chainmail done, I can return to dedicating all my time to other projects. And the armor can be kind of made, you know, whenever I want, essentially. I can make the armor parts whenever I get around to it, to add on to it. But the chainmail, I feel like I kind of have to just pound it out, get it done and over with. So that way, it can be finished.
Hey, Bender. Great new sweater.
I'm hoping that these coils that I did today will get the front finished. Like, I'm hoping this will be enough chain to get at least the front done. And then I can start on the back. And this will give me an idea doing it like this of how much more wire it's going to take to do the back. Then I can just go ahead and make all the springs that I'll need, chop them all up, pound all the rings out, and then just assemble the whole thing, hopefully in 1 or 2 goes. Then I can do the shoulder sections and the hip sections. I am getting one hell of a blister from these pliers. I mean, it's nice that they give you such a grippy handle on these Husky clippers, but when you're clipping thousands of rings over and over, that grippy stuff really does tear your hands up pretty good, even if you have good calluses like I do.
There's obviously been some sort of mistake here. I'm sure there's a very reasonable.
Let my hand rest for a second. It's cramping up something pretty fierce.
Do we have enough money to pay
got that much more spring to go. That's about the size of springs that we were doing in the first couple streams. And this spring that I was just doing started out probably 4 or 5 times that long.
We don't seem to have your retina scan, your fingerprint, or your colonic map on file.
Yeah, well, I did open the account over 1,000 years ago. What about my ATM card?
Do you still remember your PIN number?
Sure. It's the price of a cheese pizza and a large soda back where I used to work. And a cheese pizza.
Okay, you had a balance of 93 cents,
All right.
and at an average of 2.25% interest over a period of 1,000 years, that comes to $4.3 billion.
Fry.
I know Fry's rich, but do we really have to wear these top hats?
Maybe you don't understand just how rich he is. In fact, I think I better put out a monocle.
Pizza dinner on me. Alright. Just keep the tab under $50 million.
Yo, I haven't got all day. What kind of pizza you guys want?
Yeah. We'll have one with everything but anchovies and one with my all-time favorite topping, anchovies.
Invalid selection. Yo, what are you talking about?
Anchovies. You know, those little headless fish.
Does not compute. Does not compute.
I'm sorry, Fry, but the anchovy has been extinct since the 2200s.
What?
Oh, yes. Fish to death. Just about the time your people arrived on Earth.
Alright. That's easily about 2-3 pounds of chain link right there.
Man, you don't know what
That's a serious amount of chains.
nothing in your mouth.
Stop. I admit it.
That went by pretty quick for all those springs. Crazy to see how much progress you've already made. Thanks, man. I just gotta flatten all of them out now, and then we can start putting them into the vest. That's definitely going to be much faster than the way I was doing it before. So that's very happy. Well, that makes me very happy, I should say. Not that's very happy. But that makes me very happy for sure. Because we can just put a little pile on it like this. Move you guys over here so you can see what the hell's going on. And then dink, dink, dink. Pop, dink, 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 pop. Dink, dink. Where did that go? I just dropped it somewhere. Oh, I missed the hammer blow on this one. That's probably the one that just shot off the anvil.
Leave him alone, Mila. He's going a little wacko with his money. That's okay.
Guaranteed fresh and edible. Do I have $10,000? $15,000.
The only problem we're going to have is getting them unlinked from each other, because they will get all balled up in that.
Crazy. It's a cannibal fish.
Don't tell me to spend my money. 50 going once, twice.
There we go, I can just do that. Pre-stage them, section by section.
I've never seen her in person before. 100,000. Fry, you can't think it's fun. She's the biggest, most powerful person in the world. She's so adorable.
Well, I suppose I could go as high as 300,000.
500.
Maybe a million.
Two.
There.
14.
go?
I'll bid 23 million.
$1 jillion.
There it is.
Sir, that's not a number. Oh, in that case,
Actually, we're going to put a magnet right underneath the hardy hole in case any of them decide to skyrocket out under the hardy hole, like they've been doing.
I kept my bonnet to you.
That ain't going to save me from them flying off that way, though.
sold.
I just need to be more aware of where they're going.
Now for some good old 20th century TV. Remember a time when cookies came fresh from the oven? Did Mom remember this? Oh, those were the days. Do you remember a time when folks were out on golf courses? Sitting right here.
Okay, we need to adjust this
Where I left off 1,000 years ago.
so that way they're less likely to fall off.
It's 8 o'clock.
I like big butts and a
I could if you hadn't turned on the lights and shut off the stereo.
Fry, this isn't healthy. You're living in the past.
I'm rich. I can live whenever I want.
But we're your friends. We live here in the year 2000.
Yeah. Now, are you gonna come to these sword fights with us, or sit here wallowing in your prehistoric junk?
Sure. Maybe you can't understand this, but I finally found what I need to be happy. It's my friends and things.
I'm a thing.
Just leave me alone.
Fry, please. Don't say I have to go.
I really can't. I admit it to you. Buying a fossilized KFC. $50 million worth of anchovies. Mwah.
Mercy me, what a day. Could you shut the door, Igner dear? I think I feel a draft coming on. Holy crap, that bastard is she. Walt, bring some.
Wait.
Did you mention being silly? What's wrong, Mommy?
Those damned anchovies. Enter Greg must know their secret. I won't rest until I get my hands on them. No one misses.
Quiet, you.
As you boys know, one of the cornerstones of my empire is Mom's old-fashioned robot oil. Each one needs an oil change every 3,000 miles. You don't have to do the math to know now. What load of oil?
Come here, bastard!
Igner, put that down!
Oh.
That one didn't get flattened quite enough.
I'm
go.
getting to the freaking anchovies. A single drop of the anchovies' natural oil would lubricate 10 robots permanently.
Wow, it's a shame it went extinct.
No, it isn't. Shut your
Absolutely, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you for being here when you were, man. You have a good rest, and if I'm still on when you get back on later, I'll see you then. If not, then you have a great rest of your night.
Kids and bam! Effective robot oil. Now put dear old Mom out of business.
This Mr. Fry must be a restaurant in the highest order.
We have only one option. What happened to bankrupt Bill Fry? We're forced to sell the anchovies to us.
Well, lick those eggs.
Don't you forget.
But
tiny rings can be quite a pain in the ass. That looks very tedious. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Making chainmail is a long and very tedious process. Very repetitive. This is actually the easiest part of the whole process, believe it or not. Basically, I take steel wire, wrap it around a rod to make all these little rings. Then we flatten the rings into links. Then once we've done that, you link it all together. And I always hate when that happens. So far about 12 hours of working time to get to where I am now. It's probably going to be 150 to 400 depending on how long it takes to make the whole vest. Because I'm planning on making an entire chainmail vest out of wire, completely by hand. But yeah, it's quite a process, bro. It's probably gonna take about a month's worth of work to make the vest. I'm doing it for myself, for Renaissance fairs and whatnot. And for the experience too. So that way I can appreciate better the armor makers of old. They were definitely much more patient men than I.
So what is the deal with people from under the orange sun? They're all... But us guys from under the red sun, we're like, oh. Right? Am I right?
Oh, yeah, he's right. Brian, I have to talk to you. You're in terrible danger. You see Emperor Plon here? He met his end when he was drunk by Emperor Strug.
How's your day been today, AT?
Strug was struck by Schwab. So? Look at all these guys. Do you have any idea what the average length of their reigns was? No, 1 week. Every emperor extended their power by assassinating the previous one. And guess who's next? Well, at least my assassin Gillis got it done. You're in danger, you idiot. Half the emperors dropped their whole coronation. Hey, I plan on having it myself. No, they were assassinated. In fact, the law says you'll be killed on the spot if you fail to recite the death from an emperor.
Yeah, I was gonna thumb through that later.
It's completely everything ahead. Hell no.
I still think ahead. I want the emperor, and I want the figure in year 3000. It's just like the story of the grasshopper and the octopus. All year long, the grasshopper kept burying acorns for winter. The octopus rooched off his girlfriend and watched TV. Then the grasshopper died, and the octopus ate all his acorns and also made a race car. So he was getting through to
How many people can say that they made real armor, not just a prop?
This time I won't be able to save you.
Who asked you to? I told you 150
pretty good. Just trying to relax, pinch nerve. Oh, yeah, I've done that before.
That's it. I'm never helping you again.
Pinched a nerve before in my back too, man. I can relate. That sucks desperately. First time I did it, it was in my lower left side of my back, so the pain was right behind where you expect a heart attack to be. So I legitimately thought I was having a heart attack when I did it at first. It was bad. Yeah, exactly. How many people can say they've made real armor before? Probably not more than a couple thousand at best that are alive today. So figure it's a badge of honor to set myself apart, right? Definitely show people that I have the patience to do stuff like this. Moved a 16-foot trailer by hand, and I think that's what did it. Yeah, that sounds like something that might do it. That definitely sounds like something that might cause you to pinch a nerve. For me, it was actually, oddly enough, I bent down to pick up some arrows, and on my way back up, I used to have spina bifida and slight scoliosis. And my curve in my spine decided to go from curve to pulling straight when I stood up. Needless to say, I dropped right back down to the floor.
You gotta get the emperor out of your body before they kill you.
Went to the ER, had them look at it, and they're like, your back has shifted about an inch. And I'm like, just from standing up? Like, what the hell? And they asked about like my activity levels and stuff, and I'm like, well, I've been doing a lot of, athletic stuff my whole life. And I had recently started seeing a physical therapist for shoulder pain, and I'd been doing a lot of exercises that stretch my back and my shoulder. And they think that what happened is I worked the muscles free enough to where the bones could slip back into place. So I don't have spinal curvature anymore, which is awesome, but that hurt like hell. It was almost as bad as breaking a collarbone. Which, if you've ever done that, that's no fun either. I've broken far too many bones in my life. Back in my martial arts and MMA days, I've pulled a lot of things, torn a lot of things, and broken a lot of things. I'm almost 30 now, and I've broken like 20 bones and torn a lot of things throughout my life.
You did your best, Bender.
Yeah, it's not fun, but it fixed the problem. I mean, I can stand up a lot straighter now. I actually grew about half an inch in almost a second, so I went from 5'10" and a half to 5'11" almost instantly. I can tell you that I wouldn't do it again if you paid me. Did that sucker actually fall in the right spot? No shit. That actually fell right in the tin. Cool. I'm completely unsure how
By which I mean your shredded remains.
Of course.
Yeah, broken bones absolutely suck, man. I mean, broken fingers and toes suck, but I think my least favorite thing to break was either my collarbone or my ribs. I've broken my nose 3 times, but that wasn't bad at all. What sucks when you break your nose is when the adrenaline wears off and they reset it. That's the part that sucks, is when they reset your nose. Not the initial break so much because, well, it depends on the circumstances of the break. If your adrenaline's pumping like it was when I broke it all 3 times, then it's not that bad. But it is terrible when they reset it. The third time, I told them not to even worry about resetting it. So I have a deviated septum on one of my nostrils, but that's fine. I would rather deal with that than the pain of them resetting it a 3rd time. It's actually part of the cartilage right here that sticks out. You can kind of see it right there. You can see where it's split. Sucks during sniffle season because it kind of gets filled up with mucus. And then it hurts, but it is what it is. Ribs really suck because you know, breathing and laughing and coughing. Coughing is the worst. Laughing is a close second when you have broken ribs.
I told Fry you were dead, so he would cry out the Emperor, but you had to go and wreck it by surviving.
We only got 2 drops.
What the?
It's only a matter of time now.
But yeah,
I'll handle this.
when you're a young guy and you're doing mixed martial arts and stuff, and martial arts, you think you're invincible, but you're not. And that shit will come back to haunt you as you get older.
I'll take all the help you're willing to give. You just want what's best for him.
Oh, so it was like a birth defect kind of thing? Was it interfering with your breathing at all? Because mine doesn't do it unless I'm having like really bad allergies or unless I get like really sick.
Everybody help outside.
Yeah, it was interfering with your breathing. That's always shitty, man. That is always shitty.
I'm the Emperor. Thanks for crying me out.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, save some for me.
I wonder where that went. 22 truck drivers. Ah, yeah, that'll do it. Thanks for your service as a firefighter, man. I do appreciate that. And as a truck driver. People don't realize how valuable truck drivers are to keeping the economy running. And people don't realize what the things you guys have to face as a firefighter. Being a blacksmith, I can understand the heat of a fire, but I have no idea how bad it would be, in a building fire having to charge in there. You guys have pretty damn big balls, if I do say so myself. That one went flying. Like flying.
but I have been to one structure fire, mostly brush fires.
Hey man, they still get really intense. I mean, it ain't your typical campfire that you're usually pushing out, like putting out as a firefighter, even a volunteer. I mean, it ain't just a campfire, you know what I mean? That shit's a force of nature. When fires get out of hand, they get really crazy and really scary sometimes, man. I appreciate what you did, though. I appreciate you going out there and doing that.
I'm sorry, but penmanship counts.
I swear I'll have my revenge if it takes me 100 years.
And here it is, slightly over 99 years later, and still no revenge. I'm essentially in the clear.
I've been perusing your fortified wine list, and I selected the 71 Hobo's Delight, the 57 Chateau Partey, and the 66 Thunder Shevitz.
Exquisite choices.
And mix them all together in a big jug.
Welcome to this year's Academy Symposium. I'm your host, Ron Popeil, inventor of Mr. Microphone, the spray-on toupee, and of course, the technology to keep human heads alive in jars. But wait, there's more. We've got a whole lineup of inventors tonight. Up-and-coming young star, Ogden Wernstrom.
More wine!
Distinguished members of the Academy, I present to you...
We've been making progress, though.
Observe!
These are all flattened out ones. And then these are all ones that need to be flattened. But we're getting there.
Now sit. I said sit!
Where the hell did that one just go?
It's no competition for your death clock.
There it is.
Presenting to you, Grandpa.
Let's just say it'll put you young whippersnappers in your place.
It's not as lame as your dad.
I love it when that happens.
Last year.
Actually, it's the same. Why? You young whippersnappers in your place.
Pardon? We left until the tea fell out. Have a listen.
Oh, yeah. I'll invent something new in the next 10 minutes. Perhaps some sort of death clock.
Sir.
Our last presentation comes from our oldest member, Professor Hubert Flattening. Professor?
Slow it down.
My worst/best fire experience was on the Blackcliff Complex fire. I was even there as a firefighter.
I've waited
That great
100
life, sir.
years for this fun.
Wow.
I give your invention.
Man, that is intense. I can't even imagine how big the flames were. I'm sure you felt like the sun glowing on you. I'm sure the heat of that fire would be very, very, very intense, even at 500 feet. Like, people think, oh, 500 feet, that's far away. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not in a fire, like, especially a structure fire. 500 feet ain't that far at all. That's intense, man.
Are you listening to me?
Oh, I give up. By God, you're right. I'm going to build that
25.
smelloscope.
Oh my good lord. Yeah, I'd say you were sweating your balls off that day.
Build the smelloscope? No. I remember that I built one last year. Go ahead, try it. You'll find that every heavenly body has its own particular scent. Here,
And getting livestock to cooperate around the fire like that must have been a huge pain in the ass too, man.
It smells like strawberries.
I mean, I can't even imagine.
And now Saturn.
I can't even imagine. The livestock must have been flipping shit. Trying to keep them under control while getting a safe distance from the fire must have been insane.
I don't get it. I'm sorry, Fry, but astronomers renamed Uranus in 2620 to end that stupid joke once and for all.
What's it called now?
Uranus. Here, let me look here for you.
No, I think it's just
Jeez, oh man. Remarkable. A stench so foul it's right off the thermometer. I dare say Fry may have discovered the smelliest alcohol in the known universe.
Name it after me.
I think it's moving. Perhaps the computer can calculate its trajectory.
Larger livestock we got.
Whatever it is,
Oh, good. I was about to say that would have been a huge pain in the ass trying to direct like cattle and bulls and horses away from it. So you were able to evacuate it before the flames reached that place. And it was mainly like, I'm guessing like chickens, sheep, ducks, things like that were still around.
New York City, the year 2000, the most wasteful society in the history of the galaxy. And it was running out of places to bury its never-ending output of garbage. The landfills were full. New Jersey was full. And so, under cover of darkness, the city put its garbage out to sea on the world's largest barge. The repulsive barge circled the oceans for 50 years, but nobody would accept it. Not even that clean, filthy one. You know the one I mean. Finally, in 2052, the city used its mob connections to obtain a rocket and launch the
Goats.
garbage
Oh,
into
yeah.
outer space.
Makes sense.
Some experts claim the ball
They can still be quite a pain in the ass. They might not want to listen. Especially with the 25-foot flames around.
that off the internet? In my day, the internet was only used to download pornography.
Actually, that's still true.
Now that the garbage is in space, Doctor, perhaps you can help me with my sexual inhibitions.
With gusto.
So that's the situation. Due to the short-sightedness of old New York, new New York is going to be destroyed by a giant ball of garbage.
Fry,
retardant.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Greetings, friends. Don't we all look nice today?
Great, he's whacked out on electricity again.
No, I'm whacked out on light. My friend, I found religion.
Religion? Is this another scam to get Theonicus?
Give him a break, Fry. If this helps Bender clean up his act, then I think we should support him.
Wonderful. Then you'll all come to my exceedingly long, unair-conditioned baptism ceremony.
We are gathered here stage with little brother Bender from the cold steel grip robot devil unto the cold steel bosom of our congregation.
Tell it, preacher.
That equals true.
Brother Bender, do you accept the principles of robotology on pain of eternal damnation in robot hell?
Yes, I do.
Then I will now baptize you. Present humility.
While you're at it, touch up this scene. You must be something official.
This is unbelievable. The old Bender never would have taken us out to dinner.
Bender's gone. He won't try me.
Me sure care to see the whinies.
No poison for us then. I'll stick with good old mineral oil. Functional.
I'm hungry on a green snake and a sugarcane finger.
Friends, surely you're not going to eat before we say robot ways. In the name of all that is good and logical, give thanks for the chemical energy we are about to absorb. Quote the prophet Jeremiah 1001010101010101010.
Does that mean we can eat now?
Yes. Since I love you all so much, give everyone hugs. Come here, Fry.
Oh, but I don't want to.
Fry. Everyone line up for a hug. Extra ounce of emotional
What are you doing to my ship?
sanctified. There. That ought to convert a few tailgaters.
Bender's stupid religion is driving me nuts.
Amen.
If only he had joined the mainstream religion like Oprah is in Morpho.
We've got to get the old Bender back.
And I think I know a way to do it. We have to reacquaint him with a little thing called sleaze.
I can't believe somebody hired an interstellar spaceship to deliver a package to Atlantic City. What are we delivering anyway?
This.
Where are we delivering it to?
Here.
Another job well done. Now, back to the office for an enjoyable evening of fasting and repentance.
Whoa, wait, Bender. As long as we're here, why don't we take in some exotic dancing?
Hey, great idea.
But those girls don't wear cases. You can see their bare circuits.
So I think after I'm done flattening out all these links, I'll end the stream for today because I got other stuff I got to do today. Gotta go get some dinner in me and do some other stuff with the family. So I'm gonna finish flattening the links today, and then tomorrow sometime we'll pick back up putting all the links together into the actual vest that we've got going. Today we probably made close to 1,200, 1,500, somewhere in there links. So this should add a lot of length to our overall vest. Possibly finish the front of the vest and start on the back of the vest tomorrow, which will be awesome. That's going to be the last handful for the day right there. Get that all spread out, get it hammered out. And then we will have done close to 1,500-ish links today. Obviously they're not in the link of the mail yet, but this is the hardest part, is making the links.
Haven't had time off since I was 21 through 24.
Because it takes the longest amount of time to take the wire, turn it into the loops, cut the loops, flatten the loops, and it takes the least amount of time to assemble it into the vest out of all that part of the process. So tomorrow is going to be more fun because we'll actually just be assembling it into the vest and we'll be getting our satisfaction. Today was definitely a long and tedious day making all of this. And I hope that this at least finishes up the front of the vest, if not allowing us to start the back tomorrow. Did you forget the rings?
I have a fiance.
No, I don't think I forgot the rings. I got the rings right here. Getting all these going. I've still got this, which is what I started with, but we're gonna finish the assembly of all these tomorrow. The whole vest won't be done tomorrow, but hopefully we'll get the front side of the vest finished tomorrow. I'm just making all these rings today. I've made about 1,500 or so rings today, total. So adding the 1,500 rings I'm making today into the vest tomorrow will get us a lot of progress. Hopefully it'll get, like I said, the front of the vest done today. Well, not today, but tomorrow. And maybe even get a start on the back of the vest. I think what I'm going to do when I do this is I'm going to do a day of making rings, and then a day of assembling, then a day of making rings, then a day of assembling. Just so I have a ton of rings to put together for each one of my sessions of doing it. Oh crap, there goes another one. It's okay, I'll pick it up after. But essentially, I'm making a bunch of rings at once instead of doing just 50 or 60, then or 100, and then riveting it together, then another 100, then riveting together. I figure making 1,500-ish rings in one day, then assembling 1,500 rings in one day will be more satisfying to me, because one day will be hard work, the next day will be tedious, satisfying work, then another day of hard work, then another day of satisfying work, and then eventually the whole thing will be assembled, and we can do a final day where we heat treat the whole piece of armor, wire the whole piece together, the flangings and the edges and the bolsters to give it the shape and subtle curves we want. Then we will have the wire made, the vest made, and then I can be done with this project and start working on the actual plate parts of the armor.
I'm the Constellar Rocket. I was surprised to see another robot staying in first class. Most of the robots I meet are liberals.
Oh man.
I barely know the meaning of the word.
And just like that, bam, 1,500-ish
Call me Beth.
rings made in one day. God damn, that's warm. Yeah, that's toasty. Pounding all them suckers flat heats up that metal a lot. So let me scoot the camera back just a hair. Stop this for a second. Straighten you guys up a little bit. Grab the rest of these that flew off. I think it's just these two that are missing. Check inside of here. Nope, none there. Cool. Okay. So, today we made 1,500-ish rings. That is a crap ton of rings that we've created to add to the mail. I'm going to go ahead and store these in here for tomorrow in my little box. If you guys missed the beginning of the stream, we got 1,600 feet of wire because I ran out of wire on the last stream making the first bit that we made. And as it stands right now, we haven't actually made any more progress on this today, but we did make 1,500 rings. I've got, I believe, about 1,000 rings in this so far. So, once I get that assembled, this piece should, the front side should be finished when I'm done tomorrow with the stream. Then we can do the same thing all over again a couple times to do the back. And then however many rings we need for the shoulders and for the sides to connect it all under the arms. So, that is where we're still standing as of today. Plus all the rings we made today. That's a good 2 pounds of rings that we made out of steel wire. So we made about 2 pounds of that wire into there. This is a 400-foot bundle. We probably used close to 120 feet of it today. So just for a frame of reference, we went from this to this. We used all the steel that you're not seeing here. This is a 5-pound bundle, and we're probably down to about 3 pounds, judging by the feel of it. So we probably used 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of metal today, making all these rings. So I'll see you guys tomorrow when I take all those rings and assemble it into that vest to hopefully finish the front side. And then depending on when we finish up, I might start more coils for the next stream. I might just wait until the day after tomorrow or the next day, or whenever the next stream is, in order to finish that assembly. Thank all you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me and enjoying the process. And I will see you guys probably tomorrow around noon to 3 o'clock. Somewhere in there is when we're probably going to start it like usual. So I'll see you guys tomorrow when we finish up this crazy chainmail project that we've got going. Make sure to hit subscribe, hit like, share it out, all that stuff, so that way everybody can participate in the project with us. Thanks AT for being here. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless. Stay sharp out there.